Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Wait till a few of y'all show up, man. A lot of good heavyweight fights coming up, man. Shit. This month, uh, obviously we got Parker, AJ. You got Dillian Whyte, taking on Lucas Brown. Um, then obviously we got, you know, the AJ Parker fight, and you got Brown and Whyte. But shit, just the next few months though, man, we got some really good heavyweight fights, man. Um, Wait till a few people show up. Duke Oden, what's good, man? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Vince Camper, what's good? So, like I said, man, we got some good fights coming up. A lot of stuff I just want to speak about, man. Let me just start with some kind of under the radar heavyweight stuff that's going on. You guys know how I do. Tomas Adamek versus Joey Abel, April 14th. Interesting fight. We know Adamek is pretty long in the tooth with his age. Was a cruiser. He's a guy that moved up, man. He retired, then he came back, won some tough fights against Howell Manu, and he beat Fred Cassie. Joey Abel, I know, was just in camp with Deontay Wilder. Abel is a guy who got knocked out by Oscar Rivas with a huge right hand, and then he ended up going on a winning streak. He beat John Wesley No Fire on PBC. That was a pretty bloody, entertaining fight. Um, and then he ended up he beat No Fire, and then who else did Abel beat? Um, Somebody else did he upset, man. He had two upset victories, but he's been training with Wilder, and the dude has a heavy left hand. If anything, the dude can punch. So it's gonna be an interesting fight as far as that goes. You know what I mean? But yeah, he beat Christoph Zemnock. That's what he ended up beating. So gonna be an interesting fight. It would be a fight that I would favor Adamek most of the time, but shit, man, I favor Adamek to beat Molina, and he got hit with a good shot and he went down. So to me, it's a 50-50 type of fight, man. You know, so Abel land one on him. He land one of them stiff lefts on him, man. He can probably put him to sleep. Another fight that I like that's out there. I've talked about Miller and Duapa. I like that fight. Um, Adrian Granat versus Otto Wallin, Swedish heavyweights. I would have wanted that fight before Granat took a loss. A loss doesn't mean your career's over with. You know what I'm saying? But it just been a little bit more spice added to it. Had these guys fought like, before Granat fought Dimitrenko and he got stopped quick, and that was a first round knockout. And going in, back then I was favoring Granat to beat Wallin if they were to fought back then. But Wallin, I think he wins this fight, man, because Granat, he seems up, like he tries to fight out of the Klitschko type of style where he wants to use the jab, land the right hand, come with the left hook. Wallin's a southpaw, a guy that sparred with AJ a lot, but he's a southpaw. He likes to move. I think he'll move. I think he'll use his legs. He'll move. He'll pot shot when he needs to, and he has quicker hands than Granat. I think he'll outpoint him. And if Granat gets tired, like I've seen him in some of his other fights, kind of get tired in between rounds, 5, 6 round, he, gets a little winded. Um, he possibly be stopped, in my opinion. It was what fight was that? Was it the France real fight where he looked he won the fight, he stopped him, but kind of was getting gassed a little bit. But I'll definitely favor Wallin. NBT Boxing, appreciate that, man. I'll try to catch up on these comments, man. I'm actually watching Ezra Charles versus Walcott, their third fight. Charles had tremendous Ezra Charles had tremendous defense, in my opinion. Walcott, very good footwork, man. Underrated footwork. Some of you heavyweights out there, man, you want to learn some footwork, go watch Jersey Joe, man. The heavyweight Jersey Joe. Go watch him. Excellent footwork. After this, I'll probably watch Lennox versus Bruno. That's one thing I like to do, man. I like to just watch fights from every era of just heavyweights, man, and appreciate their eras. You know what I mean? I know sometimes we want to compare eras. Who would win between this guy and that guy? But really entertaining fight, man. I've seen all three of these fights. But anyways, so yeah, some good fights coming up. We got Ugonoh coming back. I believe he's fighting Fred Cassie. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. I believe Ugonoh's fighting Cassie. Fred Cassie's a tricky dude, man. That's a tricky dude to fight. He'll switch from lefty to righty on you. Um, Debatable losses in his career. Brazil. Who else did Cassie? He fought Fury. Huey Fury kind of tough. Um, Shit, I thought he beat Chris Arreola. Tell you the truth. Uh, he's a tricky dude to fight. Man, I've only seen him really. Well, Miller stopped him, but then he got beat up really bad. Well, he got shit knocked unconscious against Mansour. So there was no debate in that fight because he went to sleep. You know what I mean? So a lot of stuff going on, man. There's a few other fights out there. Some under the radar type of heavyweight fights. Let me pull up Boxing Scene because I seen they came out with an article. Ajay Kabayel versus Miljan Ravkanan. I've actually did a prospect watch video on Ravkanan before, but I would favor Kabayel in that fight, man. I thought he was going to lose at Chisora by decision. I thought he had the style to beat Chisora. Likes to move his, like to throw his hands, put up the high guard, use his legs a little bit. Young guy didn't really have an amateur career at all. So for him to beat Chisora, I thought that was impressive, man, for a guy in his position. You know what I mean? He won that EBU title. Yes, I know it's not a title you need to become undisputed, but it's one of those titles that you can win as you're coming up if you're on that Euro level. You know what I mean? So I like Kabayel, man. I really do. I got a chance to watch the Whyte versus Brown. What was that? The Whyte versus Brown. Was it The Gloves Are Off? Is that what it's called? Funny shit, man. It's like Whyte, that dude wants animosity. And I like that when fighters want that. Man, it's like he was trying to turn that into like some animosity on that show, man. Now I know they're going back and forth on was it Instagram or Twitter, going back and forth with each other. And Whyte said he's coming to knock him out. Now, is he going to strategically set up a knockout by using using a long jab and trying to find his range? That's really not Dillian Whyte, man. He's not going to run away from a scrap. If you tag him, he's going to want to tag you back 2-3 times. I think there's a possibility he could get knocked out if he goes in there and tries to walk down Lucas Brown and get him out of there and punish him. Because to me, Lucas Brown, his opportunity to win this fight is for Whyte to try to pressure him or try to get into a dogfight with him, and he has an opportunity to try to land one of his big right hands or a left hook. It was funny, man. Dillian Whyte was saying that he said Nelson asked him where does Brown rate as far as guys he's fought, and he said somewhere in the top 10. You know what I mean? So he definitely doesn't think that Brown is better than Chisora or Anthony Joshua. I think he's at least on par with Chisora at the least, but he said somewhere in the top 10 of guys that he's fought. You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty funny. But it's going to be an interesting fight. I'm going to favor Dillian Whyte by decision. I'm going to say it goes to decision because I didn't think him and Chisora would go to decision. So I think this may go to a decision. I don't know, man. I think he get tagged one good time from Brown. He may decide to just throw in combinations and move a little bit. Not be scared of Brown, but just try to fight a smarter fight than trying to come out there and gun for a knockout. But if he does get it done, then hey, man, I'll give him his props. But I'm gonna favor him by decision, man. I'm gonna favor that dude by decision in that fight. I was on Fanon International Boxing Channel. Shouts out to him. And there was an interview out with Anthony Joshua. The video's out, and then there's an article here on Boxing Scene. Let's get my quick opinion on it real quick, man. Let me pull up the article really quick. Just Joshua talking, if he is to win the fight against Parker. It's funny because a lot of us, even including myself, and I have AJ by a competitive decision, somewhere like 116, 112 type of decision. I've been saying this for a while now. That's my prediction on it. It's not a foregone conclusion that he beats Parker, in my opinion. But it's like we're just overlooking this dude. We're talking about AJ and Wilder, and is he going to fight Povetkin after if he beats or when he beats Parker and all these other guys? Like, we got to get through Parker first. This isn't some journeyman or some It's gonna be a tough fight, man. It's gonna be a tough fight. I've been wanting to see these guys fight for a while. You guys remember when they both were coming up and they didn't have titles? You guys remember the WBO was gonna have those guys fight, and the winner was going to be the mandatory for the WBO crown. And I remember Parker came out with a little, was it Instagram video where he challenged Anthony Joshua to a fight. You guys remember that? It should be online somewhere. I did a video on it. I'm sure a lot of other uploaders did videos on it too. But I've been wanting to see these guys fight before they had titles. So I'm not one of these fly-by-night fans, you know, became fans of these guys when they picked up straps. Man, I've been wanting to see these guys fight for a while. Just like I've been wanting to see Wilder and Joshua before when Joshua was in the WBC rankings. You guys remember that? When he was in the WBC rankings, I think he got up to as high as number 3 or 4. That's a fight that I wanted Wilder to defend his title against him. But anyways, let me read this this little, I'm going to read the article, and it's from an interview he did. You know, Josh was very philosophical with the way he speaks, man. I've said that plenty of times. Let me find it. Now I can't find the damn thing. Okay, yeah, all right, here it is right here. It says, Joshua doesn't want Wilder in ring post Parker to hype fight. All right, let me just read what he had to say, give my quick opinion on it. He says, yes, he's more than welcome. Now, before I start, from what I'm hearing, Wilder will be doing commentary with Sky for this fight, Sky Sports, and he also did the commentary with some of the American fans probably don't know this because you either watch the Showtime or HBO version of the fight. And if you watch the Sky version, he was actually on there. I believe he was with Carl Froch. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So it won't be his first time doing commentary, man. And this time, you know, when he gets to the UK, I can't tell what a fighter what not to say or do when they see another fighter. But I don't want to see Dillian Whyte approach him and Tony Bellew and, you know, Joyce and Daniel Dubois and Nathan. You know, I don't want to see that, man. I want to see, if he wins this fight, I want to see undisputed. That's just what I want to see. I don't want to see these little side orders, man. I want the main course, you know. Now, if, again, Whyte is highly rated, so it's not like it's like, you know, but shit, Whyte has to get through his fight too. It's, you know what I mean? So, but that's just not what I really want to see, man. But if Wilder can't fight Joshua next, he may have to fight Whyte or Dominic Breazeale next. You know what I mean? So I understand that part. But if you're asking me just as a fan, I don't want to see. I'd rather see AJ and Wilder talk to each other. You know what I mean? All right, but this is what he said. He says, yes, he's more than welcome, Joshua told Sky Sports, for a story made available on the network's website Friday. But the difference is when Klitschko came over to watch me in Manchester, we had a signed deal. It was a sign and seal provided I won. Now, before I keep reading, you know, YouTube is funny, man. If you're American, people automatically think you hate AJ. And it's funny because when I was dropping videos about Joshua versus Klitschko, guess what I was being called? You'll never guess what I was being called, UK fans. A Joshua fanboy, because I thought he can beat Klitschko. And people were telling me, oh, because he has muscles doesn't mean he can't beat Klitschko. Klitschko's been a pro for this many years. And, you know, they went through the whole, like, I don't know fucking Klitschko's history. You know what I mean? Been watching the dude shit ever since he made his debut on fucking HBO. You know what I mean? Way back in the day. So you don't need to run down his damn history. I just think when he gets in the ring with this young fella, the young fella gonna beat him. You know what I mean? So it's funny how times change, man. And, you know, you have people leave comments and, oh, you're a fanboy. It was like, well, shit. I thought Josh was going to beat Klitschko when a lot of fans didn't think he would beat him. And then a lot of fans thought Eddie Hearn was bluffing when that Molina fight happened. Because remember, they were trying to get Klitschko for that date. And then I guess, you know, they signed the deal. If he beat Molina, then they'll fight. And I was like, shit, man. A lot of fans were saying Eddie wouldn't do this. He wouldn't, you know, put him out there yet and throw him in the deep end like that. The fight was made and he beat him. You know what I mean? All right, but then he goes on to say, with Wilder, I'm just not into the hype. If he wants to come over, get in the ring and all that stuff, I just prefer it if he had a fight in place to talk about, because if not, it's just hype. All right, now let me stop there. Isn't that what we're trying to do in boxing, is hype the fight? Now, some of you are going to say, no, Mr. Boxing, you got to understand what he is. When it comes to Joshua, and like the Joshua fans always have to stop and understand what he's trying to say. Okay, so let me understand. So what he's saying is, Yes, him and Klitschko had a signed deal. It was on paper, signatures. It was signed. If you win, we fight, get 90,000 in the stadium. Okay, I get it. All right, but at the same time, though, to hype, Eddie Hearn always talks about he wants fucking Wilder to fight Dillian Whyte to hype the fight up, to make it more juicier and all that shit, right? Well, this is hyping the fight too. If you get these dudes in the ring, you not do the internet gonna blow up as far as sports fans and boxing fans. The internet will blow up with a picture of Wilder, not some put together pictures that us uploaders make on YouTube of these guys together. Them face, I've never seen them face to face. You know what I mean? That'd be crazy. And I actually seen somebody leave a comment say, well, I don't want this WWE shit. Look what happened when Fury jumped in there with Wilder. Look where both got him. Well, dude, that's partly due to Fury and what he went through in his life. You know what I mean? Like, we all wanted that fight. When Fury jumped in, I was like, hell yeah, make this fight. Ooh, damn. Charles just went down face first. For those of you who don't know, I'm watching Walcott versus Charles. Ezra Charles. Damn, Charles went down face first, got up, fell back down. The third fight. Ooh, shit. Walcott. 7th round knockout. But anyways, that's when he won the heavyweight championship of the world, man. Historic moment. But back to this though. But yeah, Fury's the one that well, first of all, he had to rematch Vlad, and then we know what happened from there. They never got a chance to make nothing happen. Because of those reasons, not like one of them said, no, I don't want to fight the dude now. You know, shit happened, man. But this would be epic if he go in there face to face with the dude. You know what I mean? And they get in each other's face. And, you don't have to act like they're going to come to blows, but just say, hey, man, let's make this undisputed thing happen. Right? Hey, fans, y'all want it? I'm pretty sure the fans are going to scream and yell. Nobody's going to say, no, boo, we want Povetkin, Dillian Whyte rematch. Like, nobody's going to fucking yell that. They're going to say, yeah, undisputed, give it to us. And I know they got Povetkin on the undercard, and Hearn's doing a smart thing as far as their business is concerned. Because he might be an opponent for them. He's rated #1 by the WBA and WBO. You know what I mean? And if he is to beat Parker, he'll have Parker's WBO. So I get what Eddie Hearn's trying to do. Plus, you're giving a chance for Povetkin, or you're setting him up at least to look good against a guy that's well known in the UK. Price, I think he's going to hammer David Price. And if Price does beat him, I think it'd be one of the biggest upsets in the heavyweight division in the last 15 to 20 years, at least top 5. I got to sit down and do a list, but that'd be in my top 15 at least. As far as guys at the high level, if Price were to beat Povetkin, but let me turn on another fight. Let me watch Ali listing. Nah, I want to watch that. Let me watch something else. I'm going to watch. I'll go with Ali listing. Fuck it. Or Clay listing. But, yeah, man. So I want to see the dude enter the ring, man. All right. To hype the fight. I don't know why he's saying he's not into the hype. No, you need to be into the hype, man, because this is what get the fans aroused, and then they want to see the fight. Plus, it'll be for undisputed. It's not like he's some fucking Joe Schmo or some dude that's rated #9 in the sanctioning body. You know what I mean? And some people may say, well, why didn't Wilder let Miller into the ring? Because nobody really wants to see that. There's no demand for Wilder Miller. Now, if you're asking me as far as a style matchup, I would like to see the fight, but it's not like, let's make that fight right now. No, not really. I'd rather see Miller fight Dillian Whyte, Dominic Breazeale, Andrew Ruiz Jr. Andrew Ruiz came back too. Was it last week? Won in the first round. Good comeback fight. He fought, what's the kid he fought, man? The dude was the Olympian in 2004. Damn, I forgot the dude's name. Shit. But yeah, Ruiz came back. So to me, it'd be a great thing to hype this fight, man. Let me read what else he had to say. He says, no one wants to hear about this percentage. Who walks in the ring first, Joshua said. Oh, tell that to your hardcore. And I'm a fan of yours, Joshua, but tell that to the people that come to, they're on social media, because that's all they ever talk about. You know what I mean? But it's funny that he says that, which is fucking crazy. But he says, they just want to know that we're going to fight. You're right. We do. And he says, they don't care about the business and all that stuff that goes on in the background. That's why I don't want to get into the ring and turn it into a hype job. I want to give the fans what they want. I have been in touch with their camp since last December after I fought Takum, and it's something that we have been working on slowly, and we'll get there for sure. Oh man, not what I really want to hear. I was gonna be honest with you, man. It's not what I really want to hear. Yes, I know he has options. Yes, I know he can do whatever he wants. He'll have 3 titles. He's, he can put 100,000 people in. I know all that, man. But this is not. First of all, slowly. I just don't like the word slowly when it comes to making a fight. You say you want to give the fans what they want, and then I see the word slowly. So it's funny. Now, he says that the fans don't care about percentages. Well, shit, you should tell your promoter that too, because he's the one that he loves throwing out percentages, right? He loves throwing out percentages and, money talk. So, but I just, he's more, but he said he's more than welcome. So he said that, yes, he's more than welcome. Then within, Wilder should just go up in there, man. You just go up in there and go face to face with him. You know what I mean? Make his presence known up in that motherfucker, man. Like, not just during the media, but shit, even during like the final presser. I'm not sure when he's going to get there exactly out to the UK, but man, get up at the presser, have your WBC title with him, and say, hey man, I want the winner of this. I don't really give a fuck who win. I want the winner. That's how he should approach it. You know what I mean? And say I want undisputed. And I know if Parker wins, there's a rematch, so you'll have to wait. But if AJ is to win this fight, man, that fight should be next. I know a lot of people say, no, Mr. Boxing, you don't understand the business. 2019, it'll be a bigger fight, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, man. I'm not into that. I just want the fight, preferably by the end of the year. I don't see why we need to wait. It's not like it. And a lot of fans think if that fight happens, then there's nothing else to do. No, man, there's still more intriguing fights out there. You know what I'm saying? There's still more intriguing fights out there, man. Just because, Joshua and Wilder and Parker and guys like that are looked at to be the best, that still got to get in the ring and prove this shit. You know what I mean? You just don't get in the, well, we think you're the best, so that's it. Like, you still got to go out there and prove things. It was just like when AJ beat Klitschko. A lot of fans were like, well, that's it. That's all he has to do. Now he can do what he wants for the rest of his career. And it doesn't work like that, man. But yeah, I just don't see how, Joshua says that he's not into the hype. That, I don't know, man. You get fans into it like that. I just don't get it. But hey, I'm sure there's some some rebuttal somebody would tell me about this shit. But then let me speak on Jennings versus Joey Dawekjo, man. Dawekjo was supposed to fight Junior Fa ended up fighting Craig Lewis, and I was actually on Kiwi Box live stream, and I said I'm favoring Fa, but it's gonna be an interesting fight, man, because Craig Lewis won the he won the Golden Gloves at heavyweight. What was that, 2008? And Wilder, ironically, won it in 2007 at heavyweight, the U.S. National Golden Gloves. So I knew Craig Lewis is not a pushover. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not surprised that fight went to decision. But it's a good experience for a Fa, because everybody's not going to just roll over and play dead once you punch them, or once you hit them with a good shot, or just be knocked out, you know what I mean? So, but anyways, Dawekjo and Jennings, I think, is a pretty interesting fight. Both Philly guys. So some bragging rights will be involved. I think if Jennings, man, can use his jab, man, and use that damn 84-inch reach, man, this dude, he likes to get up in that high guard shell and work out of that, man. I'd say use your fucking jab, yo. But hey, who am I? I'm just a guy on YouTube, right? Use his jab and then try to set up his right hands and then get inside and play some shots. Dawekjo is not a pushover. I know you look at him and say, not really much. Look at his record. Oh, he lost to this guy, and he got beat by Charles Martin, and he lost to Jarrell Miller. I know, but the dude won, 14 national titles here in the U.S. He has quick hands. He got some dog in him, too. And if you get close to him, he will wing over some overhand lefts and overhand rights, some good place and body shots. He can, he got pretty good movement up top with his head when he's focused. He can pot shot with you, pretty quick hands for a guy that size. So he's not just a complete fucking pushover, man. To me, Martin was just too big, quick. In that fight, when he fought him, it's on YouTube. He was just piecing him up in that fight. He fought Mansoor in a pretty decent fight, you know. So the dude isn't just a complete fucking pushover, yo. But I'm gonna favor Jennings in that fight, man. You know. So let me see what y'all talking about here, man. Damn, y'all going there. Let me see. Yep, Joe Joyce. Jamie Craig said Joe Joyce fighting this weekend. Yes, he is. He is. He's fighting a big, tall dude. Um, what's that dude he's fighting? Is it Palmer? He's fighting him. I expect Joyce to go in there and mow him down, man. Donnie Palmer, that's who he's fighting. I expect him to go in here and mow him down. Um, Joyce is the dude's durable. He's durable. He's not the fastest guy, but he's durable and he can hit hard. You know what I mean? Basics. He's a guy that has like the basic fundamentals. Um, I expect him to go on there and chop Palmer down. Shout out to Benji in the super chat, man. I appreciate that. He says I got $1,000 on Parker. Reading the comments really quick, man. Cali Meehan says, God bless you, Mr. Boxing today. Awesome insight as always. Is that the real Cali Meehan? Can y'all hear me? I don't know what the hell just happened, man. Somebody said, pay your bills, Mr. Boxing. Nah, I pressed something on accident, man. Then it went off. Can y'all still hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me, man. All right, so yeah, I was saying if that is the real Kelly Meehan, which I doubt, but his son is a pretty interesting prospect, man. Um, Young dude got heavy damn hands. Him and Junior Five was a fight that I would like to see one day. Um, his son got some heavy ass hands, man. I actually did a prospect watch video on Cali Meehan's son. Um, but what do y'all think about what Joshua said? Let me see if I can catch up to some of those comments, man. Because I know y'all probably got your opinions about what I had to say about it, about him not wanting Wilder to enter the ring unless they have a signed contract, and he don't want it to be about hype, which is crazy to me because that's what you do. And you know, boxing, you hype up the fight to get fans interested. Daniel or Warwick, he says Wilder was getting demolished until the old man Ortiz gassed. Wilder got given 2 seconds extra to recover. Start of 8th round. Casuals. Okay. He was getting demolished. Then he said the old man gassed out. Well, why did he gas out? Did he gas out because it was so easy he just ran out of gas, or because it was he felt as if he was winning the fight and then Wilder started to come on? I mean, why did he gas? You know, um, I actually thought he won. I actually thought Ortiz won the first 4 rounds, and I didn't think he was demolishing him. I don't know how you look at those 4 rounds and say, man, he's getting demolished. Like I don't, or maybe that's how you look at it. But I thought he won the first 4 rounds. One, I believe it was the third or fourth, I thought was debatable. But it wasn't like he was getting, like, oh, he's getting demolished in this fight. Then the fifth, Wilder knocked him down. Um, and then the sixth, and then the seventh round was a big round for Ortiz. I know the start. I know when the doctors came over and looked at him, I counted, I believe, 15 or 17 seconds. I counted that they were looking at him. But like I say, man, he had, when he first hurt Wilder, he had what, like 45 seconds to finish him. Damn near had him out of there, and then he had the whole 8th round. So it's like, what about the 45 seconds in the whole 8th and the ninth, and when he got knocked out in the 10th? So do that not count? You know what I mean? Are we just saying those 15 seconds, that was his only opportunity? Well, that's not saying much then, is it? If he was demolishing them and it was so easy, we're just gonna look at that 15 seconds and say, nope, that's when he would have won the fight. No, it's 15 seconds. So I mean, but hey, man, to each his own. If that's what you think, or Warwick, hey man, like I always say, I'm not here to change your mind or argue with you, man. If that's what you think, more power to you, man. Rockstar 1996 says Price won't beat Povetkin as much as I'd like to see him do it, but Miller, Ortiz, Parker, and Brazil all take Povetkin now. The man's just waiting to get beat now. He's off the juice. He's off the juicy juice. Hey man, you better be careful saying that, man. You'll get hated on here on YouTube if you say Povetkin's on juice. I done had people not be my friends no more. You know what I mean? They fucking unsubscribe and turn into trolls and shit. But anyways, you know, Povetkin, man, he's a guy that, you know, when they went into that fight with Wilder, I actually thought that Povetkin had the second best resume to Vladimir Klitschko at that time. Solid heavyweight, man. Solid heavyweight. You know, but I would love to see Povetkin versus Ortiz. I think it'd be a good inside fight, or even Jarrell Miller. You know what I mean? Both guys like to come forward. They won't have to go looking for each other in the ring. I think that'd be a very interesting damn fight, if you ask me. So I guess we'll see what Povetkin has, you know, against Price. But against Rudenko, you know, Rudenko's a adorable dude too, man. You know, so I wasn't expecting him to go in there and steamroll Rudenko. Rudenko's very fucking durable. Never been knocked out, you know, so been in there with Lucas Brown, Huey Fury. The Brown fight was decent, you know, so dude's never been knocked out or anything, man. So I wasn't expecting Povetkin to go in there and roll over him like that. Carlos Espinal says Jennings too inexperienced to use his jab effectively. At least just pump it out there. You know what I mean? You don't have to have a Larry Holmes jab, you know, an Ali jab, Vladimir Klitschko. I mean, just pump the damn thing. Even if it is from the high guard, just pump it out there. At least, you know, triple it up, double it up. At least use it as a fucking rangefinder, something. But he likes to go in there and bang. Like, as a fan, want to see an entertaining fight. Like he had one with Spilk. I mean, the dude, even with Ortiz fight, he's an entertaining fighter because he comes to just get it. So I like that. But just watching him from like a technical standpoint, it's like, dude, pump that 84 inches. Man, pump that jab. Pump that stick, man. But like I said, what do I know, man? I'm just a guy on YouTube, man. So maybe, you know, it's his career, man. So D. Abianuli, what's up, man? He says Price doesn't have a fighter's mindset. Povetkin is there for the taking. Yes, Povetkin is, you know, say what you want about Povetkin, man. He is there to get it, man. You know, he is there to try to knock your damn block off. So that's something I can say. Price, like his last fight he had against Solokowski, he was in there. He looked like a watered down version of Tyson Fury. He was trying to peck the jab and move and trying to find right hands. And at the end of that fight, looked like Solokowski could have went about 4 or 5 more rounds, where Price had that look like, whew, shit, I'm glad this fight over. He had that look on his face. Like, whew, man, I'm glad this shit over with. He even, you know, and even the fight that he had with Christian Hammer, he actually hurt Hammer, man. He, you know, was busting him up, and then he just runs out of gas, man. Dude runs out of gas, man. He gets in the middle rounds, and it's like he just in quicksand, yo, with motherfucking 50-pound ankle weights on. You know, so. But if he can line Povetkin up with a good right hand, you know, close his eyes and put everything and turn all his body weight into it and land it perfectly, anything can happen. But the chances of that happening, and Povetkin isn't somebody that's, you know, dude ain't been knocked out. He got roughed up in the Klitschko fight. I know people like to point to all the all the clinching he was doing, and Klitschko was doing a lot of clinching in that fight. But people also forget he was busting up Povetkin in the face with them damn left hooks and right hands. He was busting his face up, and he was bullying him and ragdogging him too. You know what I mean? It wasn't just hold. It was not. There was a lot of holding and clinching, all right, but there was some spots in there where he was busting them up. And Povetkin, for the most part, was taking it. Now, if you want to say, oh, it's because he was on the juice, then, you know, I don't know if he was or not. I don't have any proof of it. But I do know he was getting buzzed and hurt in that fight, too. Unity Boxing, I guess some of y'all going back and forth. He says, so Brazil deserved the AJ fight. but not Wilder. Fuck out of here. Um, yeah, that's crazy. People say shit like that, man. It's Charles Martin deserved it. Brazil deserved it. Takam deserved it. Didn't hear anything about who they beat. He's not popular. You don't hear nothing about that. But then when it comes to Wilder, it's like those type of conversations come up, and that's something I never get. I just don't understand it here on YouTube. It's like, so all these other fights, I didn't hear anything about who did Molina beat. And some of you may say, oh, well, it was voluntary, or it was his manager, it was this, it was that. But I don't hear none of that though. Only when it comes to Wilder. And it makes me just scratch my head like, dude, we never have these. Even going into the Klitschko fight, when that was happening and I was favoring AJ, I didn't hear nobody bring up who did he beat, why is he. It was just they fought. Good fight. AJ seemed like the next one is going to be a world champion, fighting a guy that was coming off a loss, Klitschko, but had reigned over the division for the last 10, 11 years, him and his brother, and we just want to see him fight. It wasn't this who he beat. He don't bring money to the table, or he's only popular here. It's like these weird conversations when it comes to Wilder and Joshua, man. That's why, it's just ridiculous, man. Daniel Work says it was 20 extra seconds. Okay, 15, 10, 20. But again, I'm not going to sit and say it was only in that 20-second gap. That's when Ortiz could have won the fight. Again, what about the 45 seconds when he first clipped him? And then what about the whole 8th round? You know what I mean? It wasn't like Wilder was doing devastating work in the 8th. He was just trying to get his bearings back and paw with the jab and move around a little bit. Ivan Lewis says Ortiz is about 48 years old. Okay, that's what you say. BC says Joyce getting hyped because he lost to Usyk. I know the game. Joyce was a very solid amateur. I will say that, man. He's fought some everybody. Yoka, Herkovich, Usyk. I mean, they all fought each other. What's the other dude's name? The big 6'9" dude. I'll be forgetting. So many damn heavyweights, man. I'll be forgetting these dudes' names. It'll come back to me. But in the amateurs, man, they all fought each other. They're all solid, man. They're all solid dudes. So I think he's a solid heavyweight. I think right now he can get in there and have a go with Chisora, Dillian Whyte. I think he's ready now, just from all the experience and that he had. And I know it's a different thing, but people think that amateurs like headgear and all. No, man, especially in that World Series of Boxing, it's pretty much like a pro fight. These dudes have no headgear on. So it's not like this, 20-ounce gloves and, big ass headgear and body armor. No, man, it's damn like a pro fight, especially in that World Series of Boxing. And he has a lot of that type of experience. So does Junior Fa. So does Usyk. And that's another reason why I want to see Usyk at heavyweight one day. I'm not saying he can be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is he dominated in the World Series of Boxing. He beat up Junior Fa, he beat Joyce. These dudes 250 pounds, 260 pounds. Usyk was schooling them. I actually did an interview with Junior Fa on my channel. If you guys go to my playlist, done quite a few interviews. Molina, Andy Ruiz Jr., a few guys. But I interviewed Fa and I asked him, I said, hey, man, who's the best fighter you've been in there with? Before I can get done asking him, he was Usyk. And Fa is somebody that fought Joseph Parker 4 times in the amateurs, so. Ivan Lewis says Ortiz was close to beat Wilder. Yeah, he was close to getting him out of there, But close don't get it done though, man. Don't come close, close it out. You know what I mean? He couldn't close it out. And people say he's 45. Okay, so or you say he's 48 or 50. Okay, cool. But when so if you want to say, oh, he's 55 years old, oh, okay, cool. But he just beat fucking Jennings, what, December of 2015? Was it December, November 2015? So what was he, 47 then? People are, he's a boogeyman and nobody wants to fight him. And it was hard for him to get fights. But when he beat Jennings, nobody looked down on Jennings. People were praising Jennings for taking on Klitschko and Ortiz in that same year. And him actually going into the Ortiz fight is looked at as a 50-50 type of fight. And he went 12 rounds with Klitschko, a fight that I predicted Klitschko to win by mid-round stoppage based on Jennings' style of high guard come forward, and that shit was working. That's what's so good. That's one thing about prediction. You can predict whatever you want. Anything can happen in this ring. If you would have, man, somebody would have bet me $1,000 that Jennings gonna put up a high guard and try to walk down Klitschko, I would have said you out of your damn mind. He gonna walk into a right hand, and he was, but he was taking them shits, man. He was coming forward on Klitschko. Went 12 with him. Money Man says AJ is scary when it comes to Wilder. He gets very philosophical, man, and just I be listening to him sometimes, like, man, I like AJ, man, but it's when it comes to Wilder, there's nothing really straightforward. It's just, like the one interview that he had, 5 months ago, was in October 2017, somewhere around there, when he was talking about the guy on this side of my arm is saying this thing, and on this shoulder, yeah, the guy on this shoulder saying this, and the promoter in me is saying this. Like, huh? Like, nigga, you want to fight him or not? Like, what are you talking about? Like, again, I get it. I can break down what he's saying, man, and and put it in his proper context, but it's just like, I just don't want to hear that. I just want to say, yeah, I want to bust his ass. I want to get him in there and beat his ass. Some straightforwardness can just, being straightforward can be cool too sometimes. Everything don't have to be this whole, just this, I don't know, this whole story, and it just don't have to be all that, man. Just a good old, hey, I want to go in there and whoop his ass. I think that'd just be good. You know what I mean? Rockstar 1996 says, hey, Mr. Boxing, what did you make of the World Boxing Super Series Cruiserweight semifinals? You looking forward to Usyk Gassiev? Hell yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Usyk and Breedis were when they first put the tournament together, Usyk and Breedis were my favorites. And then the way they had the seedings, they end up having to fight each other. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a close fight, though both of the guys were my favorites. I've seen Breedis knock out, who did he knock out off the back foot with an uppercut? The dude that just won the WBA regular title. Manuel Char. You know what I mean? So I see him put him to sleep. That was some damn knockout of the year type shit. And we know what Usyk can do. So those are my favorites. Dorticos showed me a lot. Seen a fight with him and Kalinga, when he fought him back in the day. So Gassiev can hit hard as fuck, man. He's another guy that has sparred with Wilder. Wilder had him in a few camps. And I've heard Gassiev speak highly of Wilder. You know what I mean? Gassiev can crack, yo. That dude can crack. If he can go in there and show some head movement, don't be predictable, work that left hook. He has a hard-ass left hook. If he can, find a home for that left hook, kind of cut the ring off on Usyk a little bit, man, and make everything count. You know what I mean? I think he have a good chance of beating Usyk, but I like Usyk's legs. I like his head movement, and he's been doing this. This ain't the first time he's going to be in there with somebody that can crack. You know what I mean? So he's not going to be intimidated by any means. So I'm a favorite Usyk in this fight. I think he is the best cruiserweight in the world. I thought it was between him and Breedis. I give Gassiev his props. Dorticos, I'll give him his props, but Breedis and Usyk to me are the two best cruisers. I know there's some up and coming talent, but right now, if you ask me right now, I think those are the two best cruisers. And but shit, Gassiev has a chance to show that he's the best cruiser. The winner will be undisputed champion of the world at cruiserweight, man. So was it just Evander Holyfield and O'Neal Bell that have claimed that? So it's gonna be some history. And I'm glad that I think they made my man Lebedev champion in recess, because he lost to Gassiev. You know what I mean? I know that his WBA super wasn't on the line, but it's like, dude, like once you lose a fight, okay, in his situation, you lose a fight. I don't give a fuck if one of the titles aren't on the line. If you lose a fight and you lose your IBF like he did to Gassiev, you're not a champ no more, dude. Like, you can't go into the next fight, oh, I'm still the champ, though. Like, nah, it just didn't sit right with me. Like, nah, you're really not, though, because I seen you lose. You know what I'm saying? I hate when that type of shit happens, man. But I'm glad the WBA made that decision. So now we will get a full undisputed champion. Because at first, Dorticos just had that WBA regular. So I'm glad, because at first I wanted Lebedev in the tournament. Like, nah, man, put him in the fucking tournament so his belt would be on the line too. Not this regular shit. Give us the real once we get a full unification. So Glad they made that happen. It's gonna be a good fight though, man. I could be wrong. Gassio could go in there and knock his ass out, but I would favor Usyk in that fight though. The Fox Strikes, what's up, man? He says Ortiz blew his load. You can say that, and he also couldn't find a proper way to land the left hand again. He couldn't get the right hand off, and Wilder wasn't really giving him the openings, and then Wilder started to come on himself. You know what I'm saying? That damn right hand that Wilder landed in that 10th round, man, counter. I thought that shit was crazy, yo. That shit sounded like I said in the post fight, it sounded like somebody took a watermelon. Cause I had my TV up loud when I was watching the fight. It sounded like somebody took a watermelon, held it above their head, and just slammed it on concrete. That damn right hand landed hard as hell, and it was a counter. Ain't that crazy, man? The person that landed the best counter in the fight, or the counter that did something devastating, was Wilder. If we had placed the bet, I would have put my money on Ortiz landing the best counter in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Well, shit, that right hand counter he landed, that right hook counter he landed in the 7th was nice, you know, but Wilder was, you know, going off the back foot. Boom, he caught Ortiz. Ortiz kind of got caught in the ropes a little bit, and then we know what happened after that. Then the final punch that put him down was an uppercut. Had we put money on it, you were to ask me who's gonna land the most devastating uppercut in this fight, I would have put my money on Ortiz. You know, so it's funny how how the whole fight played out as far as the punch selection. The Fox Strike says he gave 5 and 6 to Wilder. Rounds 5 and 6. Yeah, because he knocked him down in the 5th and the 6th round. Did I give him 9? I'm not sure if I gave him 9. I can't remember. But I did have Ortiz up. But that's the good thing, though. We ain't got to worry about scorecards. You know what I mean? Sometimes a clean, good knockout. And it was one of them good ones, too. It wasn't he was almost about to beat the count. Nah, he was on his knees looking around, looked like he was looking for change or some shit, man. He dropped him hard. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that the fight ended just like that. Just like that. You know what I'm saying? But you still got people out there making up excuses and but you know, it's boxing, man. I mean, guys can get in there in their prime undefeated and people still have an excuse. Even the guys fucking laid unconscious. You know, it's just fans being fans, man. Oh, somebody's bringing up Brazil. Yeah, I also seen Dominic Brazil talking about Wilder and uh you know, saying, or you know, he wants to fight Wilder and Wilder's not fighting AJ and he's Wilder's mandatory. Maybe Dominic Brazil knows something that we don't know. You know, obviously he and his promoter will be uh, more in contact with the WBC than any of us fans would be. So maybe they are working something in the back for him to be the mandatory. But I just don't see how you fighting Eric Molina, would constitute like a fucking the winner of that gets the mandatory. Because let's just say had Molina won, that's not a good look. You know what I mean? Molina getting so I thought Brazil and Whyte should be fighting for the mandatory spot. From last I checked, both guys are 1 and 2. But I guess that's too much like right. You know what I mean? The 1 and 2 guy fight for the mandatory. You would think that's just fucking common sense, but we know how boxing is, man. We know how boxing is. BC says Pitvek was using that meldonium in Austrian. Yeah, that's what he got caught for. Daniel Awarick. Yeah, bro, you keep bringing up the doctor, but what point you're not bringing up is the time that Ortiz had to finish him. I get what you're saying, but how about what I'm saying too, though? What about the time he had to finish him? Why didn't he just finish him? Fuck the doctor. Okay, doc, check him for 20. Okay, I'm about to whoop his ass now. Why not just finish him? If he was so hurt and dazed and confused, why not just finish him? You get what I'm saying? Like, so shit, man, he couldn't get it done. I mean, we can sit here and say what the docs did and what they didn't do. He didn't get it done, though. Ivan Lewis says Ortiz was tired. That's why he lost. Um, He was tired. That's why he lost. I thought he lost because he got punched in the face really hard. But okay, that's just me though. I thought he lost because that right hand went off the side of his damn head, and he was, and he started to do the stanky leg, and then he got hit with another shot. Then he got hit with that uppercut at the end and put him on his knees. That's why I thought he lost. But if he got tired, now I get what you're saying. He got tired during the stretch. But hey, man, I mean, shit, people get shit. Wilder got stumbled and hurt. He still won the fight. You get what I'm saying here? Like, this is boxing. People are going to get fucking tired and buzzed and clipped and cut and whatever, man. Like, a lot of excuses, man. K Black Boxing was good, man. I'm behind on these comments, man. So Carl Burrell says, do you think Luis Ortiz has better skills than Vladimir Klitschko? Both of them dudes are highly skilled. See, like, and that let me just talk about this. Now, again, I'm just a guy on YouTube, right? I'm just a dude on YouTube, so we can all have our opinions. But people say skills and skills. Vladimir Klitschko is skillful in a different way. To me, he's skillful for a guy that's 6'7", 6'6", that can fight in his type of style. He has very good legs, good feet. Credit to Emmanuel Stewart. People don't give Stewart enough credit, man, for his work with Klitschko. Stewart used to have Klitschko listening to James Brown, Michael Jackson, uh, have him listen to that and have him move around in the ring, have him dancing in the ring to work on his rhythm. Klitschko, there's interviews out there talking about this, so I'm not making this shit up. But using that jab, using his feet, and then throwing the big right hand, he's skillful in a different way, man. Like, the way Klitschko can throw that left jab off his hook, the right hand and his, the combinations when he would put them together, he was very skillful, man. Ortiz skillful in a different way, where he's coming from like a counter puncher's perspective of things, where he's trying to counter you. He has good subtle movements with his head, good subtle little, the way he moves his feet, and he can pivot and turn and duck and then, slip to the right a little bit, or slip to his left and then counter with a left hook, or he can have you thinking he's trying to land his left hand, but he comes with a lead right hook. I mean, they're both skilled. You know what I mean? I guess it depends on the way you define skills. People tend to think that if you have the basic fundamentals down, that you're just going to win every fight. And that's just not the case. Like I said before, man, being unorthodox and mastering that skill is a skill in itself too. Roy Jones Jr. I can go on and on with guys that were unorthodox, you know what I mean? So Pernell Whitaker, and these guys had the basics down. It's just that they felt more comfortable fighting in an unorthodox fashion, to where it has you guessing and thinking like, damn, what is he going to do? Because like I always say, man, to me, if I'm a trainer and I got my guy fighting either a guy that has the basic fundamentals down, or fighting a guy who is just as powerful, just as quick and athletic, but he's unorthodox, I'd rather train my guy to fight the guy with the basics, because I know where he's, I can see what he's going to do, or we can kind of guess what he's going to do. He's going to have the high guard up, throw a jab, bring it back to his chin, follow with the right, slip under. I mean, you can kind of, those rhythms and movements are a little easier to deal with than somebody that's, herky jerky, moving around, giving you the shoulder, just all types of different type of angles and looks. Is, like Manny Pacquiao, it's just, sometimes it's hard to gauge. Although a guy like Marquez, who has the basic fundamentals down, gave a guy like Pacquiao hell. So it works different ways. James Toney's a guy that has the basic fundamentals down, but he'll give you the shoulder and do different things. But shit, Roy Jones made that shit look easy. Get what I'm saying? Like, so it is what it is, man. Scrolling down on these comments. Yeah, y'all hit that like button, man. Renee Salcido says, we has a picture of Ron Germany, but he says, Fat Fury versus Brazil at a catch weight at 300 pounds. Carlton Palmer says because the no, I guess you guys are talking, but let me just read. He says because the only big name American heavyweight is Wilder, the Brits are spoiled for choice. I don't believe that, but if that's what you believe, hey man, that's you have the right to that. But to me, man, it's not like the Brits are just like the. I mean, after Joshua, and because he's a unified champion, who else you talking about? Like Dillian Whyte, David Hay, and Tony Bellew, Joe Joyce, Danny Dubois is a damn prospect. Nathan Gorman's a prospect. Nick Webb's a prospect. Chisora is a guy that's in the middle of the pack of the division. Like, who are you really talking about? I mean, them guys to me in the fucking shit same level as Brazil and Miller and all the other guys over here. They should all be fighting, man. I don't see this as like it's the UK and then it's the US fighters at the bottom. And if anything on the Euro scene, you still got some other guys. What about the guys like Ajay Kabayel from Germany? He just beat fucking Chisora. You know what I'm saying? So you got guys like Michiel Wallace, Tom Schwartz. You got Junior Fa out there trying to make some noise now out of New Zealand. Joseph Parker, so there's a lot of heavyweights out here, man. It's the UK. Now, Josh was the big money man out there, so people have this perception that, oh, well, this is where it's at. I know that's where Anthony Joshua's at, and that's about it. As far as, the star type thing. But rather than that, I mean, Chisora's not a star. Dillian White's not a star. You get what I'm saying here? Like, so I don't really get that. But hey, if that's what you think, man, like I said, I'm not here to change your mind, man. But I don't see it like that at all. And I'm somebody that been following this shit, man. I'm just not one of these guys that just start looking at the vision when it got hot. I was looking at it when nobody. I remember doing post fights for like uh, the Povetkin Huck fight, and people get like 3 comments on the fight. You know what I mean? So, or doing post fights on Peter versus Hellenius and only get like 3 comments on video. So I've been watching this shit on YouTube for damn near 10 years, and I've never stopped watching the division ever. I've never stopped watching the division since the 80s. I've always kept close eye on the division. Now, when YouTube came around, it's a little bit easier to find some of these fights. But I used to buy all the magazines, man, and just read up on, the late 90s into the early 2000s before the internet started really blowing up with different websites and YouTube and all that. Always kept up on it. You know what I mean? Even when I couldn't see the guys' fights because it was different countries, I at least read about them. So I've never stopped watching the division, and I just don't see the UK just took over. I don't really see it like that. It's just one guy that's super popular, and it's Anthony Joshua. Black Horseman promotion says, "What's the latest on Shannon the Cannon?" Man, I don't know. I don't know what's up with Let's Go Champ, man. He had his chance, he's gonna fight the Lucas Brown thing fell through. Um that was on Brown, and then his fight that he had with my man Freza Kendo for that regular WBA title, that shit fell through. So now you got Manuel Char versus what Freza Kendo gonna come up. So Shannon, then I know Shannon was saying something about in November. They were saying that him and Povetkin might fight. Then Povetkin ended up going with Radinko. Um, I like to see Shannon give it one more shot, man. I would like to see it, but I don't really know what's up with Shannon. I know he's still training, but I don't know. I like to see Shannon fight like Antonio Tarver or Man Sword, somebody like that. I think those would be good fights. I'm a fan of the old guy fights. You guys heard me say that before, man. So I know some of you probably like, what? Nobody want to see that, but I'll watch it. You know what I mean? But as far as him, I think he has a puncher's chance in the first 3 or 4 rounds. But after that, I see him gassing out and just being stopped later on in fights, probably busted up and stopped. But the first 3 4 rounds of a fight, Shannon does have a puncher's chance. The dude what the most first round knockouts at heavyweight. I forgot how many he has exactly, but give him a puncher's chance, man. But I'm not sure what's up with old Shannon, man. Chris Smalley said, "Mr. Boxing, who did you favor at the start of the super middleweights And who you think wins, Groves or Smith? I think Groves is going to win. I was riding with my man. I was riding with Rob Brandt. I actually sparred Rob. You guys have heard this story a million times, but I sparred Rob in 2010, and I was rooting for him, man. So yes, I was being biased on that one. I'm not going to sit here in front. I want him to win the whole thing. To tell you the truth. So Lisa Queen says Ortiz was on the floor with exhaustion. He didn't get knocked out cold, so cut the rubbish out. Okay. Again, you call it rubbish. I can say what you're saying is rubbish. You know what I mean? But dude, he got punched in the jaw and he fell and he was looking down at the ground. If you want to call it exhaustion, okay, man. He was exhausted for getting punched in the face. Okay, cool. But we're not gonna sit here and act like he. See how some of you guys are trying to turn this into he got tired and he just fell. He got punched in the face, man. All right, like you cut the rubbish out, man. The dude got punched in the jaw. His head snapped back. He went down. Cut this whole like, the ref could have went and he would have failed. Like, knock it off, man. Like, see, this is what I'm saying about going back and forth sometimes with you guys, man. It's like you guys say some crazy shit, man. He got punched in the face. Colin Palmer says Wilder's hard to beat, but it's far from impossible. Although of the current heavyweights, AJ and Fury have the best chance. Yeah, look, man, I'm not one of these dudes saying, oh, he's never going to get beat. I don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen with these dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? So my 5 favorite fighters of all times have losses, all right? So I'm not one of these new fans, man, where you lose a fight and, you're a scrub or you got exposed and, you lose, man. You know what I'm saying? Ali, Holmes, Foreman are my 3 favorite fighters, not just heavyweights, my 3 favorite fighters of all time. Of all time. And then close to those 3 is Holyfield, or not Holyfield, but I'm sorry, yeah, Holyfield and Tyson. And then outside of that, Jack Johnson, Lennox Lewis, some other guys. But heavyweights are all my favorite fighters. And then my favorite non-heavyweights, I don't get off topic, James Toney, although he went to heavyweight, but Tony when he wasn't a heavyweight, and Hearns growing up for me are my favorites, man. But Whitaker's in there too. I got a few of them for non-heavies, but I know Tony turned into heavy, but you guys get what I'm saying. But they all have losses, man, so I'm not with all that. And shit, it is possible that Wilder can lose to AJ or Fury, you know what I mean? So definitely not saying it's not possible. And it's also possible they get hit in the face with the right hand and they go to sleep. So this is what I'm saying. We got to see the shit happen. Mr. Meaner, he says, seem like you stopped hosting at Mr. Box. I don't know what you mean by that. What, doing vids? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure what you mean by that. JD says, Undisputed was 1 fight away in 2015, but there was no pressure for it. I wonder why. See, there you go again. Like, according to who? And fans like to say that, well, nobody was saying let's go for Undisputed in 2015. Well, you wasn't talking to the right people. I'm a traditionalist, man. I'm old school to the core. I want Undisputed in every weight class, and I've always wanted it. Always wanted it. When Wilder had that title, when Vitali decided to retire, and then Stavern and Chisora, who fucking not Chisora, but Stavern and Areola, who fucking fought basically for the title twice. I thought that was stupid as hell. I wanted Stavern to fight Klitschko. You get what I'm saying? So you're talking to the wrong people, man. That's all I gotta say. You didn't run across me because I wanted Stavern versus Klitschko. See, gotcha. See, gotcha. You thought I was saying Wilder. No, I wanted Stavern versus Klitschko. I didn't want him to fight Wilder. I wanted Wilder and Jennings to fight. So I'm not sure who you're speaking about, but me, no, I wanted Stavern versus Klitschko. And then when Wilder got it, I wanted Wilder to fight Klitschko and not because they were trying to get the Povetkin thing. You get what I'm saying? So that's not true, man. Mr. Meaner says a collab between Fanon and Mr. Boxing would be great. Yeah, I've actually was on his channel with, it was me, him, and was it me, him, and Blood? Yeah, I think I came on for a quick second. It was me, him, and Blood. I believe Blood Boxing was on there too. But yeah, another collab would be great though. M. Reynolds, what's good, man? He says Wilder adjusted, which people do not want to give him credit for. Yeah, I guess nowadays being unorthodox means you have no skills. I mean, that's just from what I gather from fans. If you're unorthodox, you have no skills. So I don't, but to me, man, look, man, nobody's this lucky, man. If he is like, look, man, I want some of that luck. Please, Wilder, let some of that luck rub off on me to be, 40-0. You get a bronze medal. You're putting people in fucking semi comas. Look what he did to Spilka and Liakovic. Regardless of what you think, I'm talking about what he did to them physically, is doing it to another human being. He had them on the canvas laid out. That shit was scary looking, man. That was some rated R type shit. You know what I'm saying? Dudes out there passed out. Dudes, quivering and shaking on the mat and shit. Like, so, Stavern, oh, he fought him like a damn lawn chair, man. Like, so I want some of that luck. I want some of that luck. D. Obianuli says, I'm telling you, Wilder is skilled. People are sleeping on him. Yeah, I think, look, like I just said, this ain't luck, man. Like, you can't get this far being lucky. It just doesn't work like that, man. It just doesn't. But if you're one of the people that believe that, then hey, fair enough, man. But it doesn't work like that, yo. Haters have opinion. Says, what's good, Mr. Boxing? What's good, man? What it do? What it do? Antonio McCray, what's good, man? St. Cruising, what's good? Trying to catch up on these comments, yo. Daniel Warwick says Wilder duck Whyte $4 million to fight Ortiz for $1.4 million. Okay, so that's your opinion. Now let me give you mine. For me as a fan, I respect something like that because, for one, I'm not getting none of this money that they're turning down. All right. So if you want to say he ducked Whyte, how can you duck somebody? How can you duck Whyte when maybe not you, okay, maybe not you, but at least 90% of the fans I come across, we all had Ortiz rated higher than Dillian Whyte. I'm not talking about sanctioning body rankings, but just an overall consensus of all the rating, just regardless of sanctioning body rankings, just rating the heavyweights. Independent ranking services had Ortiz rated higher than Dillian Whyte. Nobody viewed Whyte as a top 5 type of heavyweight, but everybody viewed Ortiz that way. So if you want to say, hey, man, you think that Wilder made a mistake by not taking a higher payday, $4 million, that's true. But to me, he gets more respect from me, at least, because he took on the tougher opponent. And he took on somebody that hasn't been stretched out. Because then what would people have said? Oh, well, he's fighting Joshua's leftovers. Joshua already did that. Or let's say Wilder knocked him out in the 10th. Well, Joshua beat him quicker. It'll be that whole thing. Now, let's just fight somebody just new and fresh. You know what? Let's fight